Hello, it's your girl, Unique Air, back again for another reading of the Astral Heavens and Hells and what to expect. What have you created for yourself? That's something to really think of. Every day in life is something to think about when you are challenged with negative situations. What kind of future am I creating for myself in my next life? By the way, I react to this. What kind of karmic retribution am I bringing to myself if I allow someone to pull me out of character? Because it only takes a matter of seconds for those negative astral elementals to see that your mood has changed, because the moods have colors, and I have a chapter on that. When you get angry, the reds and all that kind of stuff, those spirits see that, and it only take a millisecond for them to jump in. B, they know that. And if you don't believe me, go check out the movie Fallen with Denzel Washington. Okay. It's a matter of seconds. This battle that we're fighting, people, is a spiritual one. And the good book, Holy Bible, tells you that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty to the pulling down of strongholds. Okay. We're fighting spiritual wickedness in high places. Look at the likes of the Diddies, the Jay-Z's, and the titty fakes. Okay. That's spiritual wickedness in high places that we're dealing with. All right. So as we get into that, we're going to read Astral Heavens and Hells. You've got to see the one before this because this is a continuation of the last one, Astral Religious Experience. This is the next chapter. In the quotation from the occult writer given in the preceding chapter, the following statement is made: each man is his own absolute lawgiver, the dispenser of glory or gloom to himself, the decreer of his life, his reward, his punishment. And this is true not only in earth life, but also doubly true of the life of the soul on the astral plane. All right. This is starting out juicy, y'all. So basically, just like you reap what you sow here on the spirit realm, you're going to reap what you sow here. Right? You are your own punisher. You are your own rewarder. It's all you. For each disembodied soul carries with it its own heaven or hell of its own creation and of its favorite belief, and partakes of the blessings or sorrows of each according to its merits. But the judge who sentences it to reward or punishment is not a power outside of itself, but a power within. In short, its own conscience. Okay, I'm gonna stop there for a minute because remember I was talking to you about shadow work in the last episode that I did. So there's nothing outside of you that's gonna judge you. So you can put down that fear that God gonna do this to me, the devil gonna get no. You are the God and the devil. All right. It's your own conscience that's gonna judge you or that's going to reward you. So remember that. Okay. On the astral plane, the consciousness of the soul asserts itself very forcibly, and the still quiet voice that were perhaps smothered during earth life now speaks in trumpet like tones, and the soul hears and obeys. There you go with the shadow work again, y'all. Your subconscious, right? Was so quiet on earth where you might slightly feel a little subconscious about something. Well, in the spirit realm, it roars. That subconscious is loud. All right. So anything you tried to bury or hide or didn't want to think about in the back of your mind, it's coming out. A man's own conscience, when allowed to speak clearly and forcibly, is the most severe judge that exists. Stripping aside all self deception and hypocrisy, conscious or unconscious, it causes the soul to stand forth naked and bear its own spiritual gaze. And the soul, speaking as its own conscience, sentences itself in accordance with its own conceptions of right and wrong, and accepts its fate as merited and just. You hear that? So your own conscience is going to condemn you whether right or wrong. You know, like when you stole that piece of pizza I know that's something small and insignificant, right? But it's the principle. When you took something that didn't belong to you, and your subconscious said, you know, that was wrong, but your conscious like, shit, I was hungry, or I didn't care, I didn't like them anyway. I just took what I wanted. But your subconscious, and I'm using something small. Let's say a bank robber. You know, well, I did need to feed my family, but I went and broke into that bank and I stole this money and I never got caught. Well, your subconscious at the end on your deathbed, when you cross over, that stuff is going to come screaming at you, right? It's not going to be you making an excuse for it. It's going to come screaming at you unless you do your shadow work beforehand and say, hey, I was wrong for that. I was wrong. And then as you deal with the things you got to deal with in life for your wrongdoing, you realize, okay, let me just pay my penance. Let me get through this. And then I'm definitely changing my behavior. You know what I'm saying? You got to do the work before you get over there because you're going to be your own judge. And the soul speaking speaking as its own conscience sentences itself in accordance with its own conceptions of right and wrong and accepts its fate as merited and just. Man can fly from the judgment of others, but he can never escape from his own conscience on the astral plane. He finds himself unable to escape from the judgment seat, and he leads himself away to his reward or punishment. Such is the poetic justice of nature, which far exceeds any conception of mortal man and his religious speculations. You know, when I read that, I thought about that scene from Ghost. Was trying to kill, he was chasing Patrick Swayze. And when he died, those shadow beings got up and they dragged him to hell, so to speak, right? Because in his mind, he knew what he had done was wrong. So his consciousness swept him away to where he needed to go. And note the absolute equity and justice of it all. Man is judged by the highest standards of his own soul, which, of course, represent the standards of his time and environment. The best in himself, the highest of which he is capable, judges and passes upon all in him below the standard. The result of this is that what the highest reason conceives as absolute justice is meted out by the soul to itself. So basically, there's nobody outside you saying, okay, you deserve this 10 lashes or whatever, so to speak. It's you that's going to do it of what you know. You know, some people try to hide the fact that they know better when they do things. You know, that's like that friend that's supposed to be a friend that takes a dig at you and you feel it in your heart. You feel it in your chest when they do something to hurt you, but they act like they never done nothing or start talking about something else. The soul knows, you know, especially if you intuitive and you in touch with yourself, you know, and you got good discernment. You know where somebody's coming from. You can feel it. It's just like sometimes when somebody texts you and you feel the funkiness behind the text and you're like, why you say it? And then they'll say, well, I didn't say it. I didn't mean it like that. But yes, you did, because we feel it exactly how someone sends it, right? Well, that's how you're going to judge yourself. You're going to do it by what you know. The result of this is that what the highest reason conceives as absolute justice is meted out by the soul to itself. The leading thinkers of the race almost unanimously agree that any arbitrary standard of punishment, such as is expressed by the criminal codes of the race, must necessarily fall far short of meting out invariable actual justice. For the environment and education of the criminal may have been such that the commission of the crime is almost natural to him, while the same crime committed by another would be the result of a direct betrayal of his consciousness and a breaking of a moral law of which he is fully aware and conscious. So basically, depending on your mindset, you know what I'm saying? If you think it's if you think you did good, it's going to be good. It's how you think. It's where your consciousness is at. But the consciousness doesn't lie. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you kill somebody to save your life, that's called self-preservation. That's the first law. you really didn't do wrong because you was saving your life. They was trying to kill you, right? So you don't look at it as wrong. But somebody who's trying to kill somebody and that person's not presenting any danger, just to say, well, they would have took this, or say, you made up in your mind that they would have done something that you didn't like, so you killed them. Your conscience is gonna be screaming at you when you get out your body. You're gonna judge yourself. We would hardly call it criminal for the fox to steal a chicken, or for the cat slyly to lap milk from the bowl on the table. There are many human beings whose sense of moral right and wrong is but little above that of the above named animals. Therefore, in human law, it is readily and not punished by precept. Level of moral law, like, no, the with the thought of the same paragraph, we must that justice has no punishment. Or does not, or means following in to commit crime. Two, from committing further crime by confining him or by imposing other deterring penalties. Three, to reform the criminal by pointing out the advantages of right action and the disadvantage of wrong action. This being true even of finite human law, what should we expect of infinite cosmic law in this particular? Surely nothing more or less than a discipline which should encourage the unfoldment of the good qualities of the soul and the smothering of the evil ones. And this is just what the does find to exist on the astral plane. So when you judge yourself on the astral plane, this is not so much more about just hurting yourself. It's about learning your lesson. You learn so you don't do that again. If you have to come back, you know what I'm saying? You're going to learn. Whereas the person who might be here the first time in the incarnation may just do all kinds of reckless stuff. But and it's just like, okay, it's just like on the physical realm. You don't expect the same behavior from a child that you get from an elder, right? Because the elder been here 40, 50, 60 years. Their behavior is supposed to be more refined because they have experience, right? But when you have a child is going to wild out till they get the proper guidance and they're taught how to move properly. Okay. So with that being said, let's finish reading this. It says here, so yeah, on the astral plane, when you dole out that punishment for yourself, it's just to bring the good out of you. That's all. It's not to give you eternal punishment like they do here. They lock you in jail. You may get raped. You're gonna get um, experimented on. You're being abused, locked down 23 hours a day, and all this kind of stuff. That's not real rehabilitation. That's just punishment. Because most people who get out, they commit crimes again because they didn't learn their lesson. They were just treated cruelly while they were behind bars and used. Okay. In this connection, it must be remembered that the discipline which would appeal most to the soul of lowly ideas would be without avail in the case of the cultured soul, and vice versa. In short, it may be truthfully it may truthfully be said that the nature of the appropriate discipline in each individual case is well expressed by the ideal of heaven and hell entertained by the individual in earth life, and which ideal, of course, remains with the soul after it has passed from the body to the astral plane. So basically, your punishment or your reward of heaven or hell is going to be what you thought it would be when you was in your body. So if you're being told that there's going to be a devil with a pitchfork, a lake of fire, and that burn forever, guess what? You are creating that in your mind. That's why religion is wild. It's really wild. But you creating that. So when you get to the other side, if you feel like you deserve that and that's what's waiting for you, yeah, you're going to be in the lake of fire because that's what's in your subconscious. That's what's in your conscious. And you feel like you deserve it. So guess what? You'll be there. All right. And if you feel like heaven is, like I said before, whatever you feel heaven is for you, and you feel like you deserve that, you'll be there too. All right. The mind of certain individuals is fully satisfied with the ideals of a lake of brimstone for sinners and the pleasant abode in a golden streeted heaven with accompaniments of harp and crown for the blessed. Others, far advanced beyond this stage, having left behind them the old ideas of a heaven in space and a hell of torment, think that the greatest happiness possible to themselves will be a state or condition in which they could see their ideals made real, their highest aims realized, their dreams come true, and their greatest punishment, a condition in which they could follow up to its logical result the evil they have done. And both of these classes of souls find on the astral plane the heavens and hells of which they have thought, for both have created their heaven or hell from the material of their own inner consciousness. And such mental conceptions lack nothing of reality to those who are conscious of them. So if that's your mental concept, it's going to be so real for you. It's going to be so real. And don't believe me? Go check out Jack, is it Jack Morris channel? Um the NDE channel, near death experiences. And you hear people talk about they experiences, their near death experience where they went to hell, they went to heaven, and some people who didn't believe, who just saw their loved one. Watch that. That will really blow you. If you watch that channel and you just see, like one guy was on there, I was watching a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying that he went to hell, and he was like, hell is real. This is a dude from my hometown, Chi-Town, right? Said he went to hell, and it was like a body of hell, and people's flesh was being ripped off of them, and I was just like, oh my god, like, why did you deserve? He was a drug dealer, he killed people, it changed his life to go there and see that. And yeah, it exists. If you believe it exists. I remember many years ago when I was in the Christian faith with my mom, and this lady came out with this book called Pigs in the Parlor. It was a book about hell and a body. There's a head, a hand. I just thought this shit is crazy. I was, even when I was young, I thought, I'm like, damn, I'm all naive. I'm a kid. I'm like, damn, hell got a body. It's got a head, knees, and all. And the lady was talking about what was happening in each part of the hell, like the eye part. I was just like, this is wow. This woman is deep. No, maybe she was from there. You know what I'm saying? We incarnate, right? Maybe she came from there, and to put the fear in you, but to put the fear in you, you should listen. People say to love God is to fear him. I object. You should not have to fear anything. That's low vibratory. Fear is an earth element. I mean, I remember as a kid being afraid that I was going to get my ass whooped because my mother, when I was going to get in trouble, it literally had me stuck like this, like just scared to go to the kitchen to get something to drink, scared to get out of my seat. Fear is an earth element. It stifles you. So if somebody's sitting up from a pit, pulling you into the pit with them, telling you that you got to fear God to love him, that's a goddamn lie. No, you don't. It is a goddamn lie. All right. Love is love. Love don't hurt. And then they turn around in Corinthians and tell you what love really is. Love is not fear. So, it's like religion lulls you into a mind set that you don't think for yourself. They can tell you anything because you're so fixated upon this religious figure that you're not thinking about anything that's being said to you. You know what I mean? But yeah, let me I'm getting off. Hold on. So it says here, and such mental conceptions lack nothing of reality to those who are conscious of them. The joy and suffering lose nothing of effect by reasons of the absence of the physical body. So basically, on the astral plane, you know how here on the spiritual, on the physical plane, you feel everything: the joy, the happiness, the heat, the pain. Well, guess what? Over there, or outside of the body, which is right outside of the physical sight, you feel even more. There's no body to have to be a shield. You just feel everything even more on that side. right? So if you feel like you're going to be burning, guess what? You're going to feel it so bad. Like that man said about his near death experience when he was in hell. He said he was burning, he was hurting, he saw the devil. I was just like, oh wow, this sounds like something out of a movie. I won't be going there. Hell don't exist for me. There is no hell. All right. So it says here, on the astral plane, the sinner who believes in the hell of brimstone and flames, which awaits him by reason of the foul crimes done in his days of nature, is not disappointed. That's what I just said. If you believe that, you ain't gonna be disappointed. It'll be there. His beliefs supply the necessary environment, and his conscience condemns him to the punishment in which he believes. Even if he is sought to disbelieve these things by the use of his reason and still retains the subconscious memories of his childhood teachings or the traditions of his race, he will find himself in the same condition. I don't believe in hell. For those of you out there that believe in hell and haven't done the shadow work and still have this fear in your gut about it, you're going to be there. I'm just saying. He will undergo the traditional tortures and suffering, all in his imagination, of course, until he receives a valuable disciplinary lesson, the dim memories of which will haunt him in the next incarnation. This, of course, is an extreme case. There are many other degrees and grades of hells carried over to the astral plane by souls of various shades of religious belief. Each has the punishment which is best adapted to exert a deterring influence and effect over him in his next life. Some people need to go to hell. Y'all remember that movie Drag Me to Hell? I never watched it. I'm not big on horror movies, but some people need to go through it. Everything is necessary for the greater good, right? That's why they say all things work together for the good of those who love themselves. The same is true of the ideal of heaven. The soul finds itself enjoying the bliss of the blessed according to its own ideals for the good deeds and acts it has to its credits in the infallible books of its memory. Inasmuch as no soul has been altogether bad, nor none absolutely good, it follows that each soul has a taste both of reward and punishment, according to its merits as determined by its awakened conscience. Or, stating it in another way, the conscience strikes on an average the conscience strikes an average for it, which average likewise agrees in detail with the prevailing belief of the soul. Wow, this is deep. Really digging into the recesses of your mind and doing that work, That's something. Most people don't even think like that. They just go to church and go to work every day, and they don't think deep like that until that time comes, and then nobody can help you. Because remember, when you leave your body, you know what you've been knowing. You don't know nothing all of a sudden. I used to think when you got out your body, you know everything. You see everything. Like, yeah, you can walk through walls and all that kind of stuff, but you don't just know everything like that. You know what you knew when you were here. The person that you was while you were in this shell is the same person that you are when you get out. Mm. Those who in earth life have deliberately brought themselves to the conviction that there is no hereafter for the soul have a peculiar experience. Okay, so now we're talking about people that don't believe in nothing. It's like, oh, we just die. You die and you don't know anything else. I'm talking about these people. They meet with their kind on a plane in which they imagine that they have been transplanted to another planet and are still in the flesh. Wow. And there they are made participants in a great drama of karma, being made to suffer for the miseries which they have wrought upon others and to enjoy blessings which they have bestowed upon others. They are not punished for the unbelief that would be unthinkable justice, but they learn the lesson of right and wrong in their own way. This experience, likewise, is purely mental and arises merely from the expression in astral manifestation of the memories of their earth life, urged on by the awakened conscience, which gives them eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, with a vengeance. With a vengeance. Belief or disbelief in a future state doesn't alter the cosmic law of compensation and astral purgation, Meaning, just because you don't believe it, don't mean you ain't gonna you're not gonna go through what you need to go through. All right, so you're still gonna go through things. The laws of karma cannot be defeated by a refusal to believe in a hereafter, nor a refusal to admit the distinction between right and wrong. Just because you don't want to admit it or don't want to believe, I don't believe that, I don't, you still gonna deal with it. You can't get away from it because you don't believe it. Every human being has deep down under the surface thought it may be an intuitive realization of a survival of the soul, and every individual has a deep seated consciousness of some sort of a moral code. And these subconscious beliefs and opinions come to the surface on the astral plane. God, nothing will be hidden, y'all. It's like Diddy and Jay-Z and TD Jakes, all these people being exposed on the physical. Imagine on the spiritual, everything that you hold inside, out. It's out there. It's out there. Other souls can see it too, because we all spirit. That's why all that hiding stuff and all of that, I really feel like on this physical plane, they're mimicking the astral plane by making it where they have cameras everywhere. You got your phone on you, they can hear what you're talking about. There's all this stuff that they can do to show that they're controlling things, right? These are things on the astral plane that happens automatically. Remember, the laws of attraction on the astral plane are stronger than they are here. You're only going to be around other souls that are like you. You're not going to haphazardly be in a room where you like, who are these people and what is that? I don't feel right. It ain't going to be none of that. You're going to be where you're supposed to be. That's a beautiful thing. And it could be an ugly thing when you think about it. Because if you ain't right, you're going to be around a bunch of people that ain't right. Period. Just like they said, the soul that has no belief is going to find themselves on the planet where others that believe like them, and they're going to work out their karma, right? Laws of attraction, you cannot go wrong. You can't go wrong. It's what it is, right? Okay, it says, those advanced souls who have given us the best and highest reports of the life of the soul on the other side agree in informing us that the highest bliss and the deepest sorrow of the disembodied soul of intelligence and culture comes in the one case from perceiving the effect of the good actions and thoughts of its earth life, and in the other case from a similar perception of the results of the evil thoughts and actions of its earth life. When the eyes of the soul are cleared so that they may discern the tangled fabric of cause and effect and follow up each particular thread of its own insertion therein, it has in itself a heaven and a hell of greater intensity than anything of which Dante ever dreamed. There is no joy of the disembodied soul comparable to that experience from perceiving the logical results of a right action, and no sorrow equal to that of perceiving the result of evil action, which its sickening thought of it have been otherwise. With its sickening thought of it might have been otherwise. But even these things pass away from the soul. In fact, they often occupy but a moment of time, which seems to the soul as an eternity. There's no such thing as eternal bliss or eternal pain on the astral plane. Nothing lasts eternally. These things pass away, and the soul emerges once more on earth life to once more enroll itself in the school of life, the kindergarten of God, there to learn and relearn its lessons, and remember always that both the heaven and the hell of each and every soul abides in that soul itself. Each creates its own heaven and hell, for neither have any objective existence. The heaven and hell of each soul is a result of its karma and is purely a mental creation of its own being. One thing I kind of disagree with. I just feel like Earth is like, I think it's a hell realm. I really do. I think it's the lowest possible realm that you could come to, because it's so much unspeakable wickedness that happens here. I think about the child trafficking and the abuse of women, and just the abuse, the corporate abuse, forcing people to take shots and all this kind of stuff. That's abusive. It's very, very abusive. And the way that the earth is going, I know it's always darkest before dawn and chaos, order out of chaos. But the way that it looks at that it's going now with these robots and all this kind of stuff, I wouldn't want to come back here. And I'm not coming back here. I'm not. I don't know about you, but I'm learning my lessons now. Shut in, sanctified or set apart, isolated. That's all the sanctified is, being set apart. Okay. I'm saving myself, sanctifying myself. Okay. So I don't have to come back here and indulge in this stuff because this is no, no, it's not. No. It says here, but the phenomenon is nonetheless real to the soul. For this reason, there is nothing in its earth life which ever seemed more real to it. And again, remember that heaven and hell on the astral plane are not given as bribe or punishment, respectively, but merely as a natural means of developing and unfolding the higher qualities and restraining the lower to the end that the soul may advance on the path. So, once more, we see that in the words quoted at the beginning of this chapter, each man is his own absolute lawgiver, the dispenser of glory or gloom to himself, the decreer of his own life, his reward, his punishment on the astral plane. But life on the astral plane does not consist entirely of heaven and hell. There are joys experienced which have naught to do with the good or evil deeds of earth life, but which arise from the urge to express one's own creative faculties and to exercise the intellect with increased power, the joys of expression and knowledge beyond which mortal cannot hope to experience. In our next chapter, we shall consider these phases of life on the astral plane. Oh, I love this chapter on astral self expression. Like anything that you're interested in, how here on the earth plane you got to go to college, you got to pay for a school. It's all you got to pay for everything. On that realm, you don't have to. If you are an artist, they have the most beautiful colors in the astral realm. Check out this movie, What Dreams May Come. Please, with Robin Williams, What Dreams May Come. Over there, you have the most beautiful colors. When I say over there, it's not a place, it's a density, it's a state of existence, it's a vibration. It's around us now, but it's spirit. Spirit is under chains of darkness, meaning you can't see it with your physical eyes. You can only see it with your spirit eyes, right? With your third eye, your spiritual eyes. And so, any interest that you have on the astral plane, any, I don't care if it's painting, singing, writing, spirituality, of course. They have halls and halls of books. It's almost like Harry Potter. And they went to the school, and you got schools over there. You got master teachers over there. They're there. And it's beautiful there. But you create your reality. You create it. Nothing outside of you does it. It's all you. It's just like here. I've created this reality that I have. I I get to relax. My husband takes care of everything. Every day I can do what I want to do. I work because I want to work. I don't have to. I have a partner that doesn't force that. He's like, well, you're going to listen. You ain't going to never go without a roof over your head. You ain't going to never go without food. And I'm going to take care of the bills. I'm going to do this. Listen, I created that. I created that. So just like you create on this side, you can create on the other side. See, and on that side, it comes without shadowness or variableness of turning. It stays the same. Over here, you may hit bumps in the road. You may have ups and downs with people, with your job and your marriage and stuff like that. It's just what it is over here. But on that side, it's all peace. It's all love. So check your thoughts. Check your thoughts. You create your reality. It's all in your hands. Now you have forces here that will try to buff you. You know what I'm saying? Remember spiritual wickedness in high places? But even yet and still, your spirit guides will show you how to get around that. And I'm not going to go into how I've gotten around a lot of things, but I have. And the spirit, it's the spirit, you know? So, with that being said, thank y'all for joining me for another reading. And that chapter again was called Astral Heavens and Hells. And the next chapter will be the astral self expression. They're going to be talking about, any of your interests, job. You have a job over there. You can have love over there. I mean, come on, y'all. All of that. You get all of that over there. Your soulmate might be waiting on you over there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that one that you really supposed to be with. You may have an astral companion over there that didn't choose to incarnate and you came, but they still over there waiting on you to get back. And you done married somebody over here and all this kind of stuff, but they waiting on you over there. I'm telling y'all, this thing goes deep. Remember how the book says the things that we don't see are more real than the things that we see every day. We're the temporal beings being in these bodies, taking up this cross and bearing it. We're temporal, but the spirit is eternal. So yes, we have our grandmothers over there. We have anybody that ever lived and died. They still here. They just on another vibration. So that great love of your life that you may have had 2 lifetimes ago, that decided that they weren't ready to incarnate, but you decided, I'm going to go ahead and go. I need to learn some things. It's time for me to go in again. And then you wonder why no relationship works for you. Or you wonder why you keep running from relationship to relationship, because that person over there is waiting on you. That's where your real love is at. Here, you just going through maybe some karmic connections. You know what I'm saying? I know in my lifetime it's been karmic connections. This husband is wonderful. He's a wonderful person. But in my life, I've dealt with karmic connections. Like it was nothing that was just supposed to say solid all the way through to death. This one I think may be different, but I do know that there is someone on the other side that is a great love. I've already had the dreams about it and everything. And I'm like, is it you that's stopping me from having that fulfillment? So yeah, y'all, it gets deep. It gets real deep. And so I would definitely not worrying about putting my eggs in the basket on a physical realm, because this is so temporary. You die tomorrow and people grieve you for a minute and that's it. Because these other souls having their experience. Don't take things so personal, because we all spirit beings having a human experience. I don't care if you got the blondest hair and the bluest eyes, or you got the blackest hair and the blackest eyes. We all spirit beings having a human experience that chose to incarnate with whatever meat suit that we're in to learn the lessons that we need to learn. That's all it is. So don't be hating on nobody and you don't even know them. Don't allow this system to play you, have you racist and going through all this kind of stuff. We all been played. All of us. They've been played. When I say they, I mean the Caucasians, to feel like they're better. They've got an air of superiority, right? A lot of them have that because they've been taught to feel that way. We may have an air of inferiority because but we chose to personify this way to learn something. They chose to personify that way to learn something. So when they get over there, they might have to get knocked down a peg or two. When you get over there, you're going to get built up. I mean, you got to think about it. As above, so below. As within, so without. You know what I'm saying? So everybody has their time where they need to be, why they need to be, when they need to be. Right? So if you think like that, you won't get caught up in racial issues, politics, right? Tricks, multiple tricks on the people. You really never get what you're supposed to get. It's a game to keep you playing the game, right? Education, you get all the education. Once you get all of that and you want to hold on to it, then you got to acquiesce to whatever laws they pass down that come down the pipe. Oh, you got to take this shot if you want to keep your job. Oh, God, I worked so hard for this. I'm making so much money. Okay, give it to me. You see what I'm saying? Whereas if you stay level-headed and you do what you need to do just to stick and move, to survive, then when it's time to cross over, all that hard work you did and all that stuff you earned that you leave into somebody else that you can't take with you, You see what I'm saying? That you allowed your body to go through pain and all this stuff because you worked for something that was really grasping for straws. That's why Yeshua said in the book, lay not your treasures upon things on earth, but on things in the spirit realm where moth can't corrupt and thieves can't break in and steal. Don't worry about the physical things. Lay yourself up for spiritual things, because that's where you really gonna prosper at, you know? And but this society got everybody reaching for a bag, running for a bag. You can have a heart attack tomorrow. You got that bag, and you know what? Somebody else is gonna pick up that bag and walk away with it. And you're gonna be over in the spirit realm tomorrow. I want my stuck because you want material. It's high time that you start thinking spiritually minded, because that's what's gonna last. And with that being said, y'all, to the next reading, thank you for joining me. Love y'all, and I really mean that. Love y'all. Apply these principles in this life, and it will help you in the next. Because remember, when you leave your body, you don't know all things. You don't. You only know what you know now. At this moment in time, the time is always now. Incline yourself to learn principles that's going to help you life after life. It's your girl, Unique Air, signing off again, and I bid you adieu.